Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Words About Books. This is part 2 of our little series on Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. If you have not checked out part 1, please do that, or it's not going to make much sense. We're going to jump right into the middle of a conversation. As always, I am Ben, he is Nate, and here we go. So, yeah, where we last left our heroes, half of them blew up.
Way more than half of them.
Yeah, and then Holden decided to broadcast...
Actually, all of them blew up, Ben, because Holden is not a hero. Specifically, he said, don't be a hero.
Holden has now spread misinformation. Spotify has offered him $100 million to exclusively release misinformation on their platform. But they're going to put, before everything Holden says, they're going to put a little thing in front of it that says this guy's full of shit.
Perfect. Yeah. He didn't spread misinformation. Someone came along and blew up his ship, and there happened to be Martian military equipment that lured them there. So I'm not saying that it was Mars. I'm just saying, here are the facts. Maybe it is Mars? ?
Well, I think that's what makes it misinformation and not disinformation. It's not an outright lie. You're just emphasizing the wrong things and making it sound like the Martian battery means a lot more than it actually does.
Listen here, Ben. Listen here, okay? Clearly, those guys wanted a witness to their crime. Wait, hold on. No, I'm thinking this through too much. Actually, what I was meaning to say is that society needs to have all information all the time, so we can make the correct decision. Eventually, Holden, someone will figure this out.
You can just say you failed an insight check. Okay, you can just say you failed the insight check. You don't have to keep going.
Holden rolls. He rolls an insight check. He got a nat 1 this time. He just kept going, and he accidentally started a war. Oops.
If I were going to role play Holden, you would need a -2 wisdom and no points in perception skill.
Yeah, he puts it all in the charisma and the
does he though?
and the seduction skill, which is not in regular D&D, but it is in this. Okay.
Yeah.
Look. Yeah. I need something more out of this sexual relationship. You
know what makes me laugh? Because we've already spoiled. Holden obviously is going to eventually get with Naomi because as soon as his old girlfriend blows up, he immediately realizes Naomi is the only woman left, and he's got to have that.
I was gonna say Naomi fills a woman-shaped hole in Holden's life.
Yeah, there is a scene where after they have sex, they're cuddling, and she's resting her head on his chest. As men and women sometimes do. But she's like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
So her feet are hanging all the way off the bed in order to accomplish that.
And you don't know, Ben, maybe they have evolved the ability to like curl their legs up into a coil specifically for this situation.
I guess I can like curl my legs up to an extent, but my point is it was just funny. Like he should really be lying on her chest. And she should be cradling him like a child. And that's how I imagine. That's how I choose to imagine it. Anyway, go on. So Holden he sent his message, and now what's going on?
Well, now we're back at Miller, who has to live in the aftermath of Holden's stupid transmission, where basically he's afraid that a war between Mars and the Belt is going to break out, and already the very hour that this broadcast goes live, he has to get suited up in what was supposed to be riot gear, but all the riot gear is missing. But don't think about that. He has to suit up in SWAT gear, and he has to go detain a guy who murdered a woman with an entire crowd, an Earth woman, I should say. With an entire crowd around him who was egging him on, and this is the side of the OPA that gives the OPA a bad rap. This is a guy who wears an armband with OPA on it and then murders someone for the crime of growing up in a gravity well. And
I think he actually... I want to point out, though, like, realistically, shouldn't the Earth people be just much stronger?
And I would say to you, yes, but they have to jump to really punch the guys in the jaw and, like... Yeah,
but couldn't they also jump much higher? I mean, I'm just trying to imagine. Like, they talk about the difference in physical size a lot, but they don't talk about the difference in physical strength.
They'd probably be stronger. They're probably better looking, more financially successful, bigger dicks. You know what?
Okay, so
that's why we got to get rid of them, Ben.
As we're talking, I Googled the Expanse why, and the first thing that came up is, why are Earthers not super strong?
And the answer is, shut up.
The books make it more of a point than the show. Maybe future books do. Yeah, so I guess Earthers are super strong. I just wondered, because like if there was a mob of like sickly, skinny people coming at me, I mean, like, yeah, if they had weapons, that would probably be very threatening, but I'm Havelock, right? I'm sitting in this room of all these Belders looking at me like I'm a piece of shit. And I'm just like, you want to take this outside? I'll beat every one of you. All at once. Just come on. You grew
I'll lift
up...
all of you up, and then I'll just bend my knee and drop you on it, and you'll just crack.
I have to restrain myself to avoid jumping when I walk. Just from the force of putting my foot down in a normal step. I could destroy you. How dare you?
That's why we gotta get rid of him.
How dare you give me a dirty look?
That's why we gotta get rid of him.
I mean, yeah, I could see, I'm not saying it's not threatening. If a crowd of people beat a woman to death, that's fine, but like...
That's fine!
I mean, it's fine from like a logical perspective. I can understand how that happened, but like, I would think that woman should have been able to get at least one of them. Like... like she had to be able to give her at least one a good shot. You're upset about the
casualty number.
Yeah, I'm upset at the idea that there's this big bulky Belder just beating the crap out of an Earth woman, when even like the tiniest Earth woman should still be able to pretty much hold her own. It seems like a big hell of a difference. Like your bones are stretched out, like it's the same amount of calcium, but distributed much further. So it's like karate chop to the shin might just break it in half. Like,
I thought that they gave him like a drug cocktail to make it so that they weren't just glass bones and paper skin guy from SpongeBob.
6.5 hours later.
So yeah, that was a very long way of saying that a riot broke out and a woman from Earth was killed with skinny arms beating her.
I think she could have taken him.
Well, she rolled a nat 1, and she tripped on her big, meaty Earth muscles, and she accidentally did herself in, Ben. And this guy's just taking credit, and the police weren't around in order to positively ID that, and...
She could probably have jumped over him, and then leapt onto the nearest building, and then just hopped away.
What the f*** is this?
Like, I'm serious, though. It's 1/3 Earth's gravity.
Several days later.
I'm just saying. Like, the Olympics.
Well, they probably don't invite the belt to the Olympics, Ben.
1 eternity later.
We're going back to Ben's favorite character and our main man, James Holden. So, turns out that the company that they worked for, pretty pissed off that he made that broadcast that basically all but implicated Mars for a heinous war crime, right?
Heinous.
Get fed.
Later, in the void.
So he puts the information out there. He's like, everyone can sift through it and find the right solution. Has Holden never been on the internet before?
Let's do your own research.
Believes in the idea of a transparent society.
Yeah, that'll probably work.
And because of that, he is going to be taken aboard the Mars Jupiter fleet flagship, and everyone is super worried that guy is going to get his toenails removed painfully in torturous interrogations because transparency, Ben. It's worth it to die for, right?
Here's the thing. You didn't, though. This is my problem with Holden, and this is...
Well, you're wrong, but continue.
The book is trying to act like it's having a discussion between open information and keeping certain information classified to keep people from panicking. That's not really what happened here, though. You very specifically emphasized a particular point of information while de-emphasizing a lot of other information. Allow me to illustrate. You said, I found a Martian battery on a ship. Now,
yeah, I did. It was
did
on
you look
there.
at every other component of the ship? How much of it was from Earth? How much of it was from the belt? How much of it was from Mars?
Yeah, but
how
this
many
was a
different
dummy
components?
beacon.
Okay.
That's the important part.
What was the box made out of? What were the wires made out of?
Martian.
Is there any possibility that,
Is it
somebody
possible
just
to fake that kind of thing? Absolutely not.
How often are Martian batteries used around? But
this had a Martian military serial number, and you can't fake those.
How do you know that?
I don't, but I feel like if everyone knows it, then we'll know if it's fake or not.
Because
Checkmate.
I mean, like, how do you know
Checkmate, Ben.
it was even a Martian military thing? Because I'm pretty sure it was just like Amos was like Martian military thing, and it's like, well, he seems like a pretty reliable guy.
There was a serial number.
Yeah, but there's a serial number on everything. You don't know what it goes to. You didn't even look. Some guy was just like, that's a Martian serial number, and you're like, I should go public with this.
But I needed to go public with it because if it wasn't a Martian serial number, someone would know that, who actually knows these kinds of things, and they would draw the proper conclusion, and we would avoid a panic.
My point is, you didn't go public with just vanilla, boring information. People who go public with boring information...
Yeah, because that's boring news. I'm here to get ratings, Ben.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's like an academic journal kind of thing, where it's like you published every single bit of information, all your variables, all that stuff, your biases, you disclose who hired you and everything. That's freedom of information. What you're doing is an opinion piece.
So here's the thing. I can give Holden kind of a pass this first time because he just watched everyone that he knew except for these 4 other people explode, and he's not thinking straight, and he does a stupid thing that gets a lot of innocent people killed, and really he never reflects on that and is like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. That was dumb. He actually doubles down, which I guess is kind of realistic, though. The thing that gets me is he doesn't just stop here. This isn't the only time he broadcasts shit over unsecured channels to everyone that starts to make things worse. He does it again and thinks about doing it a third time.
My problem is, from a writing standpoint, I do think they're trying to have a conversation about the openness of information, and Holden is a bad representative for his side. It comes off like a straw man argument in favor of withholding information. That's how bad Holden...
Well, yeah, my conclusion was, yeah, the government needs to withhold information from us. We're too stupid. We'll draw the wrong conclusion and we'll start a giant fucking war.
Yeah, but I don't think James S.A. Corey thinks that. I think they think there is anything reasonable about Holden. But what Holden did was he gave an opinion based on a very heavily biased collection of information at a very emotional moment in his life, and he tweeted that out. He didn't just tweet out information.
Sense. It makes sense to be like, the Martian military just killed my family. And then, like, later on, you're like, oh, I'm a dumbass. That's not what happened. Because clearly, if you sit down and you look at the facts, this ship blew up the ice freighter, and then it saw us, knew we were there, and just left. Huh. It's like they wanted witnesses to this.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I know they did want witnesses to it, but I don't know why they had to blow up the other ship.
Yeah, I don't know why either. They needed to create a big crime. And they needed to mess around with the basic necessities of the belt, because that's a belter thing, Ben. You don't around with the basic necessities of life.
Well, that's the part of the book I like, though.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, like the idea that if you're a person who has to buy your air that you breathe,
you're gonna with that.
Yeah, you're gonna have a much different outlook on the world.
Yeah, no, I liked that part, and I think that was the plan. Like, all right, we're gonna blow up this ice freighter. That'll piss off everyone in the belt, and we'll pin it on the Martians. So we'll start a war. I don't know how they knew that. Like, did they have a dossier that was like, oh, it's James Holden. This guy's an idiot. He likes to broadcast information to everyone.
I imagine it succeeded beyond their wildest dreams.
Yeah.
I do not think they were expecting it to go quite that well. I think they thought the information would leak out and it would eventually spread.
They did not think there was going to be a war right then and there.
Yeah. But then James Holden showed up and f***ed it all up. But I did think what was well done about that situation was the way the belt reacted to it. Like, I do think the belt's reaction is interesting, and I do think that with Havelock being there to watch the Belters react and be like, I don't understand why this is such a big deal. Like, we're going to be fine. There's enough water. And he's like, you just don't get it. Like any kind of resource and security, it's like that water, we don't just use it for water, man. We make oxygen out of it. We run stuff on the hydrogen it comes out of it. Like that.
You don't mess with it.
Yeah,
because
you can never have too much water.
Right.
And yeah, so I thought that was good. I just don't like Holden.
So yeah, Holden's gonna go. He's gonna go to a Mars battleship and get interrogated.
Pretty cool battleship. Liked the battleship.
Yep. So meanwhile, Miller is, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting stuff, and it is important, but he decides he's gonna get into the Mal case, even though at first he really didn't care. He decides he's gonna give it a shot, and the big takeaway is her parents knew something bad was gonna happen in the belt, and this was a few months ago. So it's implying that they know there's gonna be an armed conflict out there sooner rather than later.
Well, that's suspicious.
Yeah, and so Miller's like, I gotta figure more out about this. But his boss basically tells him to half-ass the assignment, and Miller talks to a guy working with the OPA to put some feelers out for Mal, and also he learns of a new protection racket. I guess this is to your point. There's a guy who's starting a protection racket. He's got an OPA armband. He's pretending to be OPA. Miller goes to talk to this guy who's a representative, and this guy's like, yeah, he's not one of ours. And at the end of it all, the guy who's doing the protection racket is shot in the face because he was not part of the OPA. He just had an armband and was willing to use it to intimidate people.
It's like you don't want to claim to be in the mob if you're not in the mob.
So now we'll go back to our good boy Holden. He's going onto that ship, and what's interesting is there are 6 ships that have come from the belt that are unidentified and that start following him to the rendezvous between both himself and the battleship from Mars. And he also gets a message from Frederick Johnson, an ex-colonel from Earth who now works for the OPA. That'll be important later on. I don't think that the Navy has colonels, but I'm just...
I didn't even think about that.
I'm just gonna move on. I guess maybe he's a Marine, or I don't know, man. I'm just gonna move on. So, also, Shed the Doctor is kind of going crazy after witnessing the death of his entire crew, and Holden's like, "Hey, stop it! being crazy.
Hey, it's gonna be okay, buddy. Don't worry about it. Like, it's gonna be okay. We're all upset. We're all having a bad time. It's gonna be okay, bud. You good now? Your PTSD gone?
I thought his thing was like, hey, if we're going to have PTSD, we're going to have PTSD together. Go to the bridge and start talking about this stuff. You're not going to do it back here, hold up.
Yeah.
And then Holden, he looks up and off to the right. He says, God, please cure this man of his PTSD. And he gets his wish in just a moment, Ben, because they're going aboard the Martian battleship. I'm not even going to bother with the name because I'm just going to be mocked relentlessly. So the battleship is giving those 6 ships from the belt an hour to identify themselves and or leave or be destroyed. So Holden he's getting interrogated by a guy who uses focus drugs like Dune. That was cool, but it won't come up again in this story. And we learn that Holden has 8 genetic parents and an upbringing on a farm like some sort of space-aged Clark Kent. So that's my comparison, Ben. I think that they wanted a lawful good Clark Kent type in Holden, and then they were juxtaposing that with Miller's, I guess, more of a Batman type.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I don't think it hit that mark.
Yeah,
I think that's what they were going for.
I guess. I guess. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Superman is a much better advocate for his position than Holden is.
When you have 8 parents, you need to have information widely available to all of them, so you know, like, who's who at any given moment.
He did live in I guess, just a polyamorous household, so.
Yeah, was it polyamorous, or was it like we're like 3 couples and a couple extra wheels, and we just want the tax break of having a kid for all of us?
He made sure to say like who was sleeping with who, and it changed sometimes.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I think it was a polycule.
Polycule. Okay. So he's got 8 genetic parents. I don't know how that works exactly.
I've heard of it being possible to have 3 genetic parents.
Oh my god.
Like, you can splice an embryo together to have
a super embryo.
Well, you can give it DNA from 3 genetic parents, but I guess at 8, what's the point?
So is it like, all right, here's what your baby's going to look like. Let's just like, all right, I'm going to change the hair a little bit. That'll be your contribution. Going to change the eyes. That's yours. It's going to grow this type of facial hair. That's your contribution. Gonna like...
Yeah, that was my thing. I was like, what?
Like, did you just take the genetic material of 2 of them, and then you took the other 6 and just kind of added hints of them? I don't know.
You'd have to, right?
Is it easy to get a kid with 8 genetic partners, or 8 genetic parents?
Apparently it is on Earth.
It must be. It must be easy.
Because you get a tax break for doing it.
I was going to say, but they're doing this for a tax break so that they can afford farmland.
Maybe his intense genetic modification
made him Superman.
Well, not what I was going to say, not the word I was going to use. But yes, maybe it is responsible for the way he is.
Grew up definitely in a polycule, maybe a hippie convent, and so he knew that we need to disseminate information to everyone because it's a human right to have all the information, and like, you gotta know who is going into whom. Okay, I'm losing it here, Ben. The ships show up and attack. Pew pew pew.
Oh my god! I hope Shed's okay.
Yeah, he's just fine. Oh no, actually, a railgun went clean through the hole and happened to also go clean through Shed. So we cured his PTSD. Actually,
can I tell you the image I did thoroughly enjoy and think was really cool?
The fact that Shed is replaced by a computer system? Oh, no, go on.
No. It's, so Shed gets his head blown off, right? And his neck keeps pumping blood, but because they're in 0 gravity, the blood just goes into an orb above his head, fed by the still, like, flowing arteries in his neck. and it just is like a little blood orb floating above his head that they get to look at for a long time as they're just absorbing all that trauma, and also they're gonna die soon, they think. That was like chef's kiss Junji Ito moment.
Yeah, so some Marines come to escort them out of there. There's a bunch of fighting. I actually really like this part. Ends with Holden and his crew being A-okay. I guess Amos he breaks his leg, but they said it, and yeah, he's fine.
Didn't somebody get shot through the leg?
Yeah, Amos.
Oh, yeah. No, Amos got his leg broken in half.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he... Look, I
no,
can't remember...
Holden gets shot through the leg later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Amos is the only one who gets damaged here, besides Shed, but yeah, we're not really too broken up with him. And all the Marines die, and the end result is Holden gets a sweet new ship, a top-of-the-line Martian gunboat, and the Doniger explodes because it was self-destructed by the crew to prevent anything falling into the boarders' hands, and presumably all the boarders died. Well, yeah, they died, and the ships exploded, and so Holden and his crew, except for Shed, they've escaped. They've got a cool ship, and they radio in Frederick Johnson.
Dun, 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 dun. I'm gonna put in some like badass music here, like
or sensual music. You do either.
Frederick Johnson.
And they replace Shed with the onboard medical system on this ship.
How does it feel to know automation's coming for you, Nate?
I'll be dead by then, Ben.
We're gonna get you.
Weird. You know, they automated the medical profession before they automated the hauling big blocks of ice profession.
Yeah, because you all are expensive.
That's true.
You keep making those big salaries, whereas like there's very little incentive to automate the guy making minimum wage to get his arms crushed in ice. There's always another one of him.
Yeah, but then you have to deal with workman's comp.
Do I?
They do. That guy was getting a prosthetic arm before he exploded.
Yeah, but it was like the worst version of a prosthetic arm. They were actually talking about that. How
yeah,
like Earth, they just have some gel.
He could jerk himself off, and it would feel like it's someone else's hand.
He did mention that, yeah.
Yeah, he did. If anything, that's the best version. You don't need that arm regrowing gel if you could jerk yourself off. Pro tip. All right. So that's where we leave Holden. Life is pretty good for him. Everyone around him keeps dying, but, like, he's pretty good.
Got a fancy new Martian warship, hanging out with Frederick Johnson.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Miller is talking to his ex-wife in his head, and then replacing her with Julie Mao in his head, and starts drinking really heavily, and the world is kind of crumbling around him, and he basically gets to the point where he realizes that even the OPA representative is, he's spooked. And if something's scaring the OPA, that means shit's got real. So he tells Havelock Havelock has a job offer anyway, so use your PTO, get off station. You're sick now, take that other job.
You don't got to worry about me, Miller, because I have a lock on a new job. That's a little Havelock joke for you.
And then Miller just casually kicks him right out the airlock. Miller is pulled from the Julie Mao job by the captain. He's partnered with Muss?
That's what I said. I actually, I don't know what else it could be. Octavia Muss.
Yeah, she refused to give sexual favors to a superior, so she was stranded here.
She was put with the worst person on the... Oh, I'm sorry you didn't know you were the worst person.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, Miller continues to follow the Julie Mao case, and the OPA guy is like, yeah, you need to drop it. And Miller's like, hey, Muss, what would you do if you had a case that you just didn't want to get solved? And she's like,
I'd probably give it to you, dumbass.
Yeah, I'd give it to the drunk, crazy detective who talks to himself. And that sends Miller into a spiral. He's like, I thought I was good.
That's when Miller realizes, like, oh, I work with all these enormously racist motherfuckers, and they keep putting me with all the Earth detectives. And, like, oh, it's actually, they hate me. They've hated me the whole time. Oh my God, I'm not the cool kid? I thought I was at least good at my job.
Asshole.
And that leads him to just prove them right.
Yeah, goes on a hard bender, and then, as more time elapses, the Earth pulls the security contract to Ceres Station, so they're not involved anymore. They're noping out of this conflict, and the captain's like, "Come here, Miller."
Here, you be Miller. I'll be the captain.
All right, I've got my dumb hat. All right, let's do this.
Miller, come into my office.
All right. Boom, 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 boom.
So, Miller, I really need to surround myself with people I can trust right now, okay?
Oh, I get you. Yeah, I've got your back, boss.
I don't think you do get me, Miller. You know, your behavior lately, you're drinking...
Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry, I am a little hungover right now. I was actually about to drink some whiskey to chase that hangover away, but I got you. You want me to quit drinking, get back on the horse? I got your back, lady.
Miller, you're fired. Get the hell off my station.
So, is this like some sort of test? Like, hold
Yeah,
on, let me roll a detective score. Oh, that was my inhaler. You want me back on the force?
Miller, if you're not out of my office in 5 minutes, I will have one of the good cops shoot you in the face.
And so Miller decides he's going to be a good detective again, and he realizes that he has been fired.
Miller, leave your gun and your badge on the desk. Get back. No, leave those there.
But this is my gun.
No. No, you didn't bring it from home. No, leave it here.
All right. I think that I'm going to prove you wrong, boss lady. You're going to give me this badge and gun back right after I'm done going on another bender. So I'll be back for you. Oh yeah, the OPA basically, he tells Miller that they have Holden coming along, so that's why Miller's...
Holden?
Yeah, so Miller is going to start doing some detective work to figure out where Holden might be.
Captain James Tiberius Holden?
Yes.
I hear he has 8 parents.
The 8-parented man.
Oh, God. He could be in the Dark Carnival. Witness the man with 8 parents. Turns out it was a bad idea. Turns out 4 times the parents doesn't equal 4 times the person.
So we're going back to Holden, our boy Holden, as he negotiates with Fred. Okay, Holden, in exchange for his testimony to eventually find out who killed his crew and bring them to justice, he is going to get to A, keep his advanced warship, B, work independently, except Fred will get first dibs on a contract, or will get to outbid that contract.
I was going to say, Holden, how do you like it here at my quest hub? This is the town you'll be coming back to after your adventures.
Yeah, Fred is like, all right, Holden, I got a job for you. I need you to go to Eros Station.
I've got a quest for you. Let's just say.
I got a non-existent person just checked into a hotel, and that non-existent person is related to the OPA. So I'm going to hire your crew of 4 people who I don't actually know are up to this task, but you got the only warship, so I'm kind of reaching here.
Well, you guys were ice haulers 5 minutes ago, but since you're all also secret badasses, like every level 1 D&D character.
Well, you've got 2, possibly 3 people who were in the military in the past, and you got the female of the crew. So, like, that's a solid crew. Yeah.
Yeah, you got all the classes. You've got warrior, rogue, pilot, love interest.
I don't know. I can't see what's going to go wrong here. Let's send him in there. You've got a warship, which is going to do a lot of good when you're checking into a hotel. Because you're just going to, ram it into there? Whatever. Get out there, man. I don't have anyone else I can trust with this job. Guy I just met.
I'm Holden, freedom of information, Holden. Have you thought about maybe just broadcasting that she's staying in this room to everybody, everywhere?
Yeah, and then...
I think everybody everywhere should know everyone's address at all times.
This is a solid plan.
I think if you check into a hotel room on Eros, then everyone needs to know that. That needs to be broadcast to a
Holden,
public system.
Hey, Holden, I'm Fred. Hey, Holden, maybe I don't send you, actually. Maybe I send someone who can be a little bit discreet.
Well, if you don't send me, I'm just going to tell everyone you didn't send me.
So, we're on an asteroid with a bunch of my men on it.
I'm actually streaming this right now.
I feel like I could just detain you.
You're on Twitch right now. Keep talking, man. You're on Twitch right now. I'm holding the phone up like...
Okay, yeah.
The MySpace
you could hold that phone up from the jail cell that I put you in, and
as long as you tell everybody which jail cell.
I'm going to commandeer your ship with people who aren't idiots, and I'm going to send them
Can't
to
commandeer
Eros.
my ship, buddy. I locked it.
Oh, okay. I can see why this is a big deal. Yeah, why did he play ball with Holden?
Because it's the quest hub.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. I was just like, okay, there's got to be one person in the book that I can buy that Fred took a chance on them. I can buy that. It is weak. It is an excuse just to have a story and to keep the story going. And this is one of those things where when I found out it's based on a tabletop session these guys used to do, I was like, okay.
Makes sense.
Because as a DM, this is the kind of thing I would use. And as a DM, I would expect all my characters to constantly be rolling insight checks because the deal is too good and my characters just can't accept when I'm just trying to move the game along. But that's okay because none of them listen to this podcast.
So now Miller decides to not be a shitty detective because he actually finds Holden's location and uses his connection with Havelock to pin down where Holden, one of the most famous men in the belt at this time,
he just found Holden's live stream. Holden was live streaming the whole thing. He's actually got a little floating drone that circles him at all times. Just
no, because that
doing.
Makes Miller dumb then. Miller's a bad detective, except for now when he's a good detective again. Everybody,
I don't know if you've realized this about the book, but and this is a trope in a lot of books, so I'm not holding it against them, but everybody is really hyper competent at their job now, all of the sudden, even though they were all minimum wage janitor types.
Yeah, they were ice haulers who were in the military. But
now they're the best. Now he's the best captain.
They saw some action. They saw some Marines die for them, and they're like, now I know how to fight again. Let's do this.
Now I know how to fight again. Now I didn't get kicked out of the army for incompetence.
He didn't get kicked out for incompetence. He tried to punch his superior officer, and he missed and broke his hand.
What part of that did not say getting kicked out for incompetence to you?
Yeah. I should also state that Holden gets a data cube, a heavily encrypted data cube. What a terrible idea that was.
Yep, he's going to decrypt that and broadcast it to everyone.
Yeah, so you want to go to Eros?
Let's go to Eros.
All right. So both Miller and Holden arrive there. And because Miller is wearing a stupid hat, they pick him out. They're like, there's a guy following us. He's 2 cars back. He's wearing just a really dumb hat.
He's wearing a giant hat that says cop on it that only cops wear in old detective noir stories. He's literally wearing a pork pie hat.
Yeah, I was going to say, he is wearing a noir hat.
There's a guy dressed like Dick Tracy following us. Think he might be a cop? Don't know.
He thinks he's being inconspicuous, but like he's really standing out.
He either is a cop or is a cop for Halloween.
So they go to the hotel. They're like, yeah, this guy's following us, but don't worry about it. We'll go to this hotel. And this hotel is just the drizzling shits. It's
What?
Do you disagree?
I've never heard that expression in my life.
Well, I'm glad I was able to enlighten you.
Okay.
So picture a slum, and then picture the slum of that slum. And then picture it with like 40 years of like neglect. And that's this hotel.
Okay.
So
picture a Holiday Inn Express. I'm just kidding. I love Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah, this is more of a
Motel 6.
8.
Yeah.
Yeah, Motel 6. Yeah. So they get to this Motel 6, and they're like, there's our person. And a lady in the lobby pulls a gun on them and is like, we're going over to that stairwell over there. And Amos is like, I've got a bigger gun! And a firefight breaks out because it turns out this isn't like a mugging. These are people coming to get Holden and his crew. You know how I said it was dumb to send Luke Skywalker to do espionage because everyone knows who he is?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of this. Everyone knows who Holden is right now. It'd be like if we sent Joe Biden to Russia to personally do it. It's like, we know who you are.
Well, and also Holden...
And you're not good at it.
Before he enters any room, he sends out his dossier so they'll know exactly who they're attacking. And
so
feel
you
bad
know
about
that
it.
I'm a human being.
Yeah.
Don't kill me because I'm a person.
Yeah.
Did you read the part where I had 8 parents?
Yeah, I did, and it made a lot of things make a lot of sense.
So a firefight breaks out. Miller comes in to save the day. A bunch of people get killed, and those guys beat a hasty retreat out of this Motel 6. And
Miller talks them out of getting arrested for all the human men they just killed. And it's oddly one of those things that Holden's not like, but that's against the law. I should stand trial.
yeah, I need to just explain my side of this.
I'm on a covert mission for a terrorist organization, and I had to shoot them in self-defense.
Yeah, I'm James Holden, the man who has directly put your lives in danger at the hands of the Martian military.
But you're wrong, by the way. They don't beat a hasty retreat.
Yes, they do.
They beat a hasty, let's investigate the hotel.
Well, they retreat out the hotel for now. Like, these hired goons are like, let's get out of here. We'll come back later.
Oh, I thought you meant that Miller and them retreated.
No. They investigate the hotel. They're like, we gotta... Miller calls his detective buddy on Eros and is like, hey, are your firearm sensors going off? And he's like, no. And Miller's not like, oh, okay, cool, bye.
I did a few whoopsie murders. And can you just like sweep that under the rug? And he's like, yes, but I want to know more.
And again, Holden is like, well, we can't do that.
We need to broadcast I need to memorize every face I just shot.
I need to know their life story so I know.
So I
know.
live with the guilt.
I need to live with this. So
No, I'm just with you. He never thinks about it again.
Yeah,
he only thinks about how Miller killed people that day, not how him and his crew.
Yeah, he's like, he did it so easily. It's like, yeah.
You mean to say he did it well as you did it poorly? Even though you were trying to kill them yourself. Like, you were just joking with Naomi. But really, like, Holden's an insufferable dumbass. And I hate every moment I spend with him.
So they investigate the hotel and they find Julie Mao. Or what's left of her. She's in some black goo. She's been gooed, and her body is breaking down, and she has a diary that is like, burn my body.
Thank God she had an exposition diary.
Well, yeah, Ben, you need the exposition diary because this is a quest.
Yep.
And I was okay with that.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
She's had a lot of time to... She's, like, decomposing, and... I mean, it wasn't as silly as, like, Monty Python, where it's like, and it's coming to get me, ah!
Yeah, no, she did have a lot of time and absolutely no one to talk to.
Yeah, so she was like... And she warns them, burn my body, but by the time they read that, they're already out of the hotel, and they're like, oh, whoops. We probably should have done that. Oh well, it can't be that bad. Burp, burp, burp. Attention everyone, we're all gonna die. There's a radiation.
There's a radiation.
That
is pretty much what they say. There's a whoopsie radiation, and now we're all gonna have to go to the oopsie-doodle shelters.
Yeah, go to the radiation shelters. And they're following, and Miller's like, something's not tracking here. Like, why is this? Radiation feeds the thing that was eating Julie Mao, that infectious goo, and, wait a minute, that's my riot gear. And hey, I arrested that guy 3 months ago. That guy's one of those guys on series that was a hired goon. I think I found out where all the goons went, and also our riot gear. Presumably, they could have just purchased their own riot gear, but guess steal it? Whatever. So...
In the belt, you waste nothing. Not even riot gear for your goons.
Yeah, so Miller just shoots a man in the face, and he does that a lot, and Havelock's like, I can't believe you did it. It's like, these guys are attempting genocide here. You realize that, right?
It's
oh, yeah,
Holden.
yep. My bad. Yeah. Miller shoots some guys, and Holden's like, I can't believe you did that. It's like, yeah, they're rounding people up and doing something bad. Like,
he's like, I can't believe you did that. And it's like, I'm sure you can't, dumbass.
You aim down the sights and you pull the trigger. You know, you think you would learn to shoot on a farm. Most of the people I know who lived on farms, they do know how to shoot. Like, you're out there already, you might as well learn. Like, I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm not making a joke. Most of the people I know who have farms, they know how to shoot.
Yeah, no, I've shot a gun. And it's always been at my friends who live out in the middle of nowhere, because that's really the only... They tend to frown on it if you do it in the suburbs, yeah.
Miller shoots these guys, and they managed to hide. The whole crew managed to hide, and they're like, all right, so these guys, they're rounding people up. Once they pass, we're going to just follow behind them, and we're going to discreetly get to the shipyards, and we're going to get out of here. And that's a pretty solid plan. Let's get out of here. But then, Ben, don't we need to know what's going on here? I don't know who actually suggests this.
Pretty sure we do know what's going on here. We don't...
One of them is like, don't we need to know what they're planning, Ben?
No.
Don't we need to know, Ben?
We do need to find out, but like, there's absolutely no way in hell anyone would ever go back in.
Yeah, we do need to find out from like a safe distance. The goons actually don't even know. They put people in a radiation shelter, and Miller's like, hey, what'd you do with them? Yeah, okay, so I guess I should say Miller and Holden decide to go back in, and Naomi's like, okay, but if you're not back in an hour, like, we're leaving.
This part, I did message you, and I was like, obviously the author wanted to show what was happening in the radiation chambers, but the only way he could do that was one of his POV characters, or both, had to go in, and like, it doesn't make any sense for them to go in, but so they do the thing that I kind of made fun of RF Kwong for doing a little bit, where they're like, be real dumb to go back, and then the other one's like, but we're gonna, ha ha ha.
And then they high five, because they're like, are we best friends now?
Yeah, yep, and then they go. And because they acknowledged it was dumb, now we can't say.
It's a lampshade, Ben. They know it's dumb, but we're doing it anyway. I could understand if Miller is, because Miller's kind of like suicidal. He's like,
Dude,
I'm done.
Miller is unhinged. Yeah.
Yeah, Miller. It made sense for Miller to be like, I'm gonna go find out what's going on, and Holden to be like, okay, good luck, man.
But Holden has to go along because then he won't get to see Miller kill a bunch of people.
Yeah. The one of the goons pushes a family into the radiation shelter, and Miller's like, hey, open that door back up. And the goon is like, dude, we were told explicitly not to do that. That's really dangerous. I don't know why. And Miller's like, yeah, but you're gonna. And so he opens it, and then he takes a few steps in and collapses. The goon does. And Holden and Miller get dosed with a ton of radiation.
Yeah, everybody's cell phone also has like radiation, low oxygen, all the detectors because they're in space.
Yeah, Pip-Boy.
Yeah, and so their phones go off. It's like, hey, you're getting dosed with lethal radiation.
Did you know that you're dying?
Yeah. Do you want to die?
And later on, like after this encounter, Miller shoots one of the goons, and Holden's like, I can't believe you did that. It's like, he's putting people in a radiation shelter that's full of radiation and sleeping gas. It knocks you out, and then it poisons you with radiation. Like, Holden, I don't have handcuffs, okay? I can't cuff all these guys and haul them down to the station to be interrogated, all right? Especially because the police are in on it, which is part of the problem. So, like, shut the up. We just need to survive.
Have you thought about just telling everyone, like just screaming right now, it's a trap. The cops are lying to you.
Yeah, that definitely won't end very poorly for people.
Well, that's just because you lie all the time. You're the reason that won't work. Because if you told the truth more often, then people would just trust you. What do you think about that?
I think that we're gonna die here from radiation. All my hair just fell out, and I feel like I'm sterile now.
Oh, you're definitely sterile now.
I don't know. I don't know how being sterile feels, but I feel it. You know.
That they mentioned that though. Like Holden's like, it's a good thing I froze some sperm, and it's like, Holden, I don't give a.
That is actually not a good thing, Holden.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But later on, Naomi is like, I froze some eggs.
Please never. Please never.
And Holden's like, well, let's get Alex and Amos genetically in on this so we could get a tax break for all of us.
Yeah, don't do that.
So I really liked this part, except for the whole let's go back and see what's going on. I was kind of like, yeah, I wouldn't. I would have just left at this point. Really bad shit's going down. It's only going to get worse. You saw a woman turned into goo. I assume that the goo has something to do with what's going on now. I'm leaving. Bye. And they don't do that. I actually like that. Honestly, this probably should have been the finale. I don't know. Because they had these life or death stakes, right? And this was actually the closest they come to death. But you know there's 300 more pages left, so they're not going to die here.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen a little. I was going to say it's a good end of the second act, but it's only like a 500-page book. So.
Yeah, I think this and the next set piece area were the high points, and then it just kind of falls after that. But yeah,
I don't know. I didn't mind where this was in the book. The only thing I really mind is Holden's reaction to everything. But,
where he said they were puke zombies.
You know,
I didn't mind that, but I saw a review that was like, puke zombies, really? I was like, well, that's
I'll put it this way.
What they are.
Okay. So as they're walking back out, eventually the stuff that was dosed in the chambers comes out.
Yeah, the radiation shelters open up, and a bunch of people who look really sick are going around puking on everyone.
Yeah, and they're puking this goo on people, and then the goo infects the people they puked on, and then they get up and start moving. So it's a zombie thing, and it's obviously like what the black goo does. It changes people into something. And it's not literal zombies. I get that. I thought it could have been a little more creative. I mean, this is like a very minor criticism. I think the zombie thing was just a little not very sci-fi. I don't know why the goo, when you find out what it does, I don't know why one stage of that would be to turn things into zombies that regurgitate.
It needs to spread to all the biomass.
Right, but aren't
So
there a
it's
million
hijacking
ways?
your legs to do it.
Right, but aren't there a million ways it could do that? Like I said, it's fine. It
Yeah,
works.
I was okay with it.
Yeah.
It's a horror scene.
I don't know. I almost think I would have gone. Maybe it's just me saying they're being a little too reserved. Like, I would have got ham with it. Like, one of these things spouts spider legs out of its spine and just, like, crawls down the walls and just, like, attacks people and shit like that. I don't know. But,
That's why you're not a best-selling author.
well, that and the fact that I never sit down to write.
So yeah, it turns out that the police are in two distinct groups. One are a bunch of armed thugs, and another group are professionals with machine guns, and the machine gun guys know it's time for us to leave, and the other guys are like, what the hell, man? Why
What,
didn't
I
you
can't
tell
come?
us what's going on?
What?
And
What, you think, what, I'm in the goon squad? I'm in the goon
Yeah.
squad?
yeah.
You're the pro? I see how it is. I see how it is.
Yeah, I'm the
You're-
one with the machine gun, you're the one with the billy club. Get back there.
I don't know what kind of ism this is, but this is an ism. And I'm filing a complaint.
Well, have fun with the zombie apocalypse. Idiot.
Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe it'll be a fun time. You know how many video games are based around this exact scenario? Maybe
Does everyone
you're the one
die
missing
except
out.
for Holden and crew?
Maybe
I feel
you're
like
the one missing out.
I feel like nobody actually, escapes except for Holden and them.
I think some of the pros get out, but
Okay. So, also, there's a guy who's clearly infected. He's, sobbing. He's shambling. He hates his life. And Miller's like, I'm gonna shoot this guy and end his misery. And Holden is like, no! We don't kill. And if you want a spot on my crew, you won't kill unless I tell you to. You're not gonna kill that man, even though he is going to become a horrible abomination that's still capable of feeling pain even as his body is literally unraveling.
why don't we role play for a minute here? Holden, I'm
Yo.
gonna shoot you.
Don't
And
do
then
that.
I'm gonna tell your crew the zombies got you.
I'm ordering you not to do that.
And then
Hey,
I
don't you
won't-
remember that nursery rhyme we sang?
no.
That means we're buds.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I do. Yeah,
They
the cartoon.
sang
Yeah,
this, yeah, they sang the theme of a cartoon. I actually like that.
yeah, that was fine.
I actually like that a lot.
Holden.
It's like, oh, they're showing humanity because they think they're gonna die.
Holden, I'm gonna shoot this guy in the face, and or I'm gonna shoot you in the face. Now, it's kind of up to you whether or not that happens. But
Yeah, because I'm ordering you not to do that.
well, see, here's the thing though. If I don't get a seat on your crew, because I'm definitely gonna shoot this guy in the face, and if that means you would tell your crew not to let me on the ship, then I'm gonna have to shoot you.
Okay, but can you give them this tablet that I have that says that you have shot me?
Yeah, I'm not gonna
We
do
need
that.
to disseminate the information.
I'm not gonna do that.
We need to disseminate the information, though. It's important.
I don't care about that. No one
Oh my
cares
God.
about that.
But
Everyone,
transparency.
Holden, I recently had a little bit of a come to Jesus moment of my own, where everybody told me that I'm actually the old drunk shit cop, and I feel like I need to do that for you right now, Holden. Everyone thinks you're really stupid and bad at what you do, and they just kind of feel sorry for you. You're so pitiable and weak and annoying and just needy that
And then
they
I
gave
kick
you a
with my earth legs.
they just gave you a whole Martian warship because you're so needy. And I don't know where this is coming from right now. It's like a ghost is whispering to me, but it's like, that's what Addie wanted me to tell you, is that you're really, really needy. And that's why she didn't love you.
Hey, Miller, it's pronounced aid. So they escape. They all escape. And then they're going to meet. Do you want me to say it again? I'm as I'm gonna say it again.
Say it again.
They're going to meet Frederick Johnson.
Unfortunately, they're going to have to meet Frederick Johnson on part 3 of Leviathans and how to wake them. That's right, guys. It is a 3-parter. I am sorry. I was trying to make it 2, but we just went too long. I promise I really did cut most of that bit about why Earthers should be able to beat up Belters. There was a lot. I thought that would make more of a difference, but it really didn't. So we're going on to part 3. So that means this is the end of the episode, and that means I have to tell you to check us out on Twitter at WAB Pod, Instagram at Words About Books Podcast, blog for whatever random writings I'm doing at blog.wordsaboutbooks.ninja. Check us out every Monday on twitch.tv/wordsaboutbooks. You can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/WABpod. And with that, I will see you next time. Bye.
Why isn't an Earther just worshipped as some sort of god deity? A god king. God damn it.
I mean, it's that age-old philosophical question. How many fourth graders do you think you could beat up?
That's an age-old philosophical question. Confucius was sitting around mulling that one over.
And it's like, I'd say all of them. I think I could get most of them. Now, if some of them have a gun, that changes the calculations, which I'm sure is what happened to this Earth lady. But, like, no guns involved?
Probably knives.
Even a knife. I'll fight every kindergartner. Give them all knives. I don't care. Give them all knives.